All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I guess I'll get started since it's 7:03. And the one thing that we try to do in college counseling is respect the time because we recognize that everybody has a very busy schedule. But anyway, good evening. We're so happy that you were able to join us this evening. We are happy and honored to have that we assembled this great panel tonight of admissions reps and HUN alums to discuss historically Black colleges and universities. As institutions of higher education, HBCUs have a storied past, and I'd say a celebrated present and future. Just for those in the audience, many of you may already know this, but HBCUs were initially established as places of learning for Black people at a time when the majority of higher education was predominantly white and either significantly limited or prohibited Black enrollment. They have thrived, and today they still play a very prominent role in higher education. So tonight's guests represent an array of universities, and they will introduce themselves shortly. But a little bit of kind of a sense of how the evening is going to play out in terms of format. It's basically designed to be interactive and informal. We will have some questions to guide conversation. We think that that will help get people thinking about ideas and themes. And so if you want to ask some questions, what I would ask is for maybe you to put those in the chat, and then I can make sure they get worked into the program in terms of being addressed. But ultimately, we want this to be informal. We want this to be comfortable for everybody, and hopefully everybody walks away with some better understanding about the importance of historically Black colleges and universities. So I'm very happy that I won't need to do most of the talking tonight because I believe in student agency and participation. And I have basically asked my Black Student Union co-presidents to essentially moderate this evening. So you'll be hearing a lot from them. And again, please put any questions that you might have in the chat because we want to make sure those get addressed. So at this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Ayla and Milan, my two co-presidents, who will introduce themselves, and then we'll invite the panel guests to introduce their backgrounds and the schools they represent, and we'll get started. All right? So Ayla and Milan, go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. My name is Ayla. I'm a senior, and I'm from New York. I don't know what else I should say, but I feel like that's a good way.
Hi everyone, my name is Milan. I'm also a senior, and I'm just from around Princeton area.
Okay. And now we can turn it over to our reps. So we'll start with our admissions reps. So we have three from three wonderful historically Black colleges and universities. So let's see, who wants to go first? Maybe we'll go first with Lincoln.
Cool. How you guys doing today? My name is Nicholas Warachi. I'm the admissions counselor for New York and New Jersey here at Lincoln University. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'll put information in the chat later.
Lincoln.
And yeah.
The first.
Yeah, the first HBC. You already know. I had to always say that for later, but you already know.
All right. And then we'll go with Howard.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tammy McCants. I proudly serve Howard University as the Associate Director of Admission. I'm delighted to be with you this evening to share more information about Howard with you and HBCU experiences in general.
Okay, great. And last but not least, Morgan State.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tavon McLaughlin Steele. I'm an admissions and recruiting officer for the illustrious Morgan State University, located in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm here and I'm happy to be able to assist with any questions that you all may have regarding any Morgan general questions or admissions questions this evening.
Okay. And now to our HUN alums. So Ms.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry. Like I said, I'm on 3 Zoom calls currently. But my name is Karen Nguyen. I'm a junior theater and performance major at the illustrious Spelman College. And yes, I graduated from HUN as a PG student in 2018. And wasn't going to go to an HBCU at all when I first got to HUN, but with the help of Miss Tim Dinkins and Mr. Dowes and Ms. Martin pushing me to greater heights, I realized that I'm number one. So why not go to the #1 HBCU? Period.
Oh, boy.
So Spelman, honestly though, Spelman chose me. So yeah, but it's like we'll get more into that. But yes, that's me.
All right. And Mr. Miles.
All right, what's going on? What's going on? First of all, I may have to address Karen with the #1 HBCU thing. That's a different story for a different day. My name is Miles Bostic. I'm a sophomore computer science major at the Real HU Howard University. I graduated HUN in 2019 and did all 4 years at HUN, and same with Karen. Never would have thought I never would have thought I would end up at an HBCU, but I'm here and I'm loving it. So yeah, that's me.
That's great. And I'm not sure if Tatiana made it through. I don't know if Tatiana might not have. Okay, I think we're going to have one. She may join us, but that's fine. We have two wonderful HUN alums that certainly can represent perspectives there. So Ayla and Milan, do you all want to get started with questions? Which one wants to start first?
Doesn't matter, Milan?
Yep, doesn't matter. You go for it.
Okay, I will start with our questions for the HUN alums. The first question is, why did you decide to attend an HBCU, and did you focus exclusively on HBCUs, or did you consider other institutions as well?
You want to go, Bostic, or you want me to go first?
No, you got it.
Okay, great. So I wanted to go to Princeton since I was 5, since the first time I ever went on the campus. That was my goal. My aspiration in life was to go to Princeton and be a Tiger. Like, wow, that was like the pinnacle of my life, right? And I ended up going to an all-girls Catholic school for my junior and senior year. And I got into Princeton, but I was like, I don't want to go to college just yet. Sorry, mom and dad, I'm not gonna go. So I was like, what should I do? Like, should I travel like Malia Obama, or should I like go back to school because I just love to learn? So I decided to apply to a bunch of PG programs at Lawrenceville and Solebury and HUN. And I was like, kind of like HUN. So I went there and did my thing as a PG. And Spelman was actually the first school that accepted me during my PG year. And there were a lot of schools that Miss Tim Dinkins was like, Karen, are you sure you want to go here? Karen, are you sure you want to go there? I remember one of them was Baylor. I wanted to go to Baylor or apply there so bad for some reason. And she was just like, I'm not sure. She had me call my mom. She was like, I don't know if she wants to do this or not. But I definitely applied to Spelman. And I'm so sorry if you hear that noise. That's my guinea pigs. They are eating right now. But yeah, I applied to Spelman, and it was the first school that accepted me. I remember I was in play rehearsal and we were taking a break, and that just happened. And I was just so taken aback. I was like, wow, like Spelman. And I didn't know what Spelman was. No one in my family had ever been to an HBCU. And I just kind of ran with it. And I was like, I went to their admitted students day, and I just knew that like Spelman had just chosen me. Like that was what I needed. That was where I needed to be. That was home. And I knew that because when we got there, if anyone's been to Spelman, we had like it's 350 Spelman Lane. Like the street is named after the school. Okay, it's a big thing. There were girls that looked like me, Black girls holding up signs, doing little Spelman chants and stuff. And I was like, I just started crying. I was like, wow, I had never felt so included or felt so at home before I could even open my mouth to say anything. And it was just a surreal experience for me. So I was like, I need to be here. This is where I belong. And yeah, I looked at a lot of PWIs. I applied to every Ivy League. I applied to every mini Ivy, every school on Quest, I applied to like 40 something schools. And Spelman chose me. And I wouldn't have had any, and that was the only HBCU I applied to. That was the only HBCU I knew about at the time. And it just opened my eyes, opened my heart to so much that I could have not received in any other place ever. I don't care how good their African Diaspora in the World program is. It will never be like going to an HBCU. And I would never change my experience for the world.
Yep. Karen is literally so much of what I want to say. So I think she said a lot pretty well. For me, obviously I went to Hun all 4 years. And when it came time for colleges, I don't think I really thought of an HBCU until my parents. So my parents, they have a little bit of background with Howard. My dad used to recruit there, so he knew the type of caliber of students that came from there, and I just had no idea. So I got to visit Howard junior year, and I was just really just blown away by like Karen said, the feeling that like you belong there and that like this is a space meant for you. Just kind of like took me away, and I'll never forget the feeling like I'm talking about. That was the first time that I stepped on campus. I'm just like, wow, like this feels right. And there was no one else there. It was just me. We were there in the summer. But I was like, okay, something's right about this place. And so then I applied to a few colleges. Howard was actually the first program to accept me too. And I got accepted to computer engineering. So my parents were really excited for me to, possibly do something. Although eventually I switched to computer science, but I was more so set on, I think it was University of Miami. And Mr. Long, who's no longer at Hun, but he was my college career counselor. And he was just telling me like, there's Miami, there's Howard. Like it's a tough choice, but I got to sit down with my parents and like really like weigh all the pros and cons. And we, thank God, ended up picking Howard. And I'll talk more about what I've done there later, but it's definitely been the right decision, like Karen said.
Great, thank you for those responses. I have a second question for you guys. How did your understanding of your identity change after entering into a community of similar but still diverse students at your HBCUs?
And boss take a break since he just spoke. Well, I don't know how many people on this call know me, but if whoever knows me on this call knows that I did everything at Hun, every single thing. I tried to dip my hand in it. And like in terms of being a part of a space, like I felt like a little bit like I felt like a little bit of like a big fish, I was like doing everything and a part of everything, and people knew me and they knew that they could rely on me for things. And when you go to an HBCU, it's everyone's a big fish. Everyone's a big fish in an equally sized pond trying to make a difference. Everyone's valedictorian, everyone's president of this club, everyone's captain of this sports team. Everyone has baseline 500 or more community service hours coming in. So you're not trying to level up against anyone. You're really in a space where everyone is your equal, so to speak, and you're all just trying to encourage each other to be better. Be the big, not be the bigger fish, but just continue to grow. And that's something that I really, really love about Spelman, and also just like because I'm Spelman's very unique that it's located with, like, we call it the Mecca of Black excellence, but because there's Morris Brown, who's on their way to get their accreditation back, and there's Morehouse College, and there's Clark Atlanta University. So there's 4 HBCUs all within walking distance of each other, and it's just so beautiful to see such a diverse culture of Black people. We have like Latinx, we have like it just runs the diaspora, and it's so beautiful to see that, to see how you can just come to a place, and you can come from a place that's predominantly white, in a space where you don't feel you have to figure out how to make your way, in a space where you have to find a way to fit in. And at any HBCU, but I can only speak for Spelman, of course, there's always space for you. There's always room for you. There's always a home somewhere. And if you can't find that home somewhere, you can make it. They're very, very big on creating your own spaces if you don't feel represented. There are spaces for LGBTQ, there's places for trans people, there's places for computer science, there's like we have whole like departments just catered to certain people's interests. And it's very important that we have those spaces, because we don't really have those spaces in high school that are predominantly white, and you get a whole different experience just being around people who just want to help you be the best version of yourself that you can, without any strings attached, without any, oh, like I'm just trying to use you to get my step up. Like, no, we're all stepping up together. It's a big emphasis on the collective and not just your individuality.
Yeah, I'll take a different route. I think for me, in terms of like my personal identity, I think a lot of like my life, I was kind of the person who didn't really like fit in, or like obviously going to Hunt, it's a predominantly white school, as most high schools in New Jersey. So it's just kind of rough for me to like kind of have that identity, because I was, always like being around white people. I didn't really have that safe space. Like, of course, I had my black friends, but obviously, I still went to school with a bunch of people who didn't look like me. And I think when I got to my HBCU, it was just really interesting for me to see like the diaspora of like black people. Like, you really like it's and anyone who's gone to an HBCU, I'm sure Karen can relate. You just like don't find like those types of like black people, or like black people from like all these different locations like anywhere else. Karen said it, she's called Spelman or even AUC the mecca of black excellence. I may disagree, because Howard's the real mecca, the real HU. But it's just such a rich and diverse like pool of black people that come from like all across the country. Like, for example, my best friend is from Wisconsin, and my other best friend is like from upstate New York. And it's like, obviously they're coming from the kind of like the same background as me, and it just like it creates this like this this diverse pool of people who have like grown up with black people like their whole life, people who have like barely seen black people their whole life. And when you like bring that all together, and people from Utah, from Washington, from Texas, from Arkansas, anywhere you can think of, across the world as well, it really allows you to just kind of be yourself and let those guards down.
Thank you guys for sharing. Now we'll turn it over to the admissions reps. So I guess my first question would be, what are the best ways for students to explore HBCUs? And what are some factors that Black high school students should consider when picking a college home, I guess just in general?
I can start. I think the best way to explore an HBCU is to explore it like you would any other institution. I think you've heard from both of your alum how enchanting the HBCU experience is, and simply setting foot on campus can have such an incredible impact on you. Before you meet anyone, before you talk to an admissions counselor, before you take a tour, the ground I think that HBCUs, particularly schools like Howard and Spelman, that's really sacred ground. And there's an energy that's a part of our institution that once you're there, you know you're home. So when you approach selecting an HBCU, as I said, I think it should be like you approach any other institution. You first have to ask yourself, what is it that you're looking for out of your higher education experience? Do you want to be on a big campus, a small campus, in an urban environment, in a more secluded environment? Do you want to be around people that look like you, or do you want more diversity in your everyday experience? And remember that wherever you go to school, that's where you're going to live for the next 4 years or more, depending on the trajectory of your program. So I don't think the search for HBCUs should be undertaken any differently than when you're looking at any institution, but know that there is something very, very special about HBCUs, particularly for people of color, because we do represent the Baskin Robbins of the African diaspora, if you will. There are people at Howard from almost every part of the world. We have over 60 countries represented in our community, and representation from 50 states. So it is a very welcoming and homecoming experience.
I can agree with that. Just to start off, how you guys are doing? Pretty much, I'm a HBCU graduate, so I can tell you guys that, when I was looking for a school, so originally, I'm from Chicago, Illinois, pretty much, so I'm new to the East Coast. But when I was choosing my school, Chicago, we're not close to a lot of HBCUs. So I chose one in Dayton, Ohio, called Central State University. I'm home in the Marauders, so I ain't gonna have to disagree with you guys. We the real CSU. the real #1 HBCU, but that's a different story for a different day. But you know, when I was choosing it, it wasn't just choosing it because it was a HBCU. I was just choosing it because it was the best fit campus. I can agree with Miss. I'm sorry, I forgot Miss Karen and Mr. Boston. I can agree with them about stepping onto the campus, and it feeling like home at the end of the day. I'm at Lincoln now as a admissions counselor, and Lincoln, when I walked on campus, it feels like home. Like I don't have to be anybody else but myself. Whether that's I'm a student, whether I'm a staff member, faculty member. Literally, I am myself at the end of the day. And you really want to choose a school that allows you to be yourself and allows you to make mistakes at the end of the day, and push you in positions to win. Just not, here's your degree and go fishing. To really find a school that's really gonna have that plan mapped out for you as soon as you get there. All you really gotta do is just, put your head down, do what you gotta do and grind. So that's what I'll say.
All right. Again, I'm Tavon McLaughlin Steele from Morgan State University, the real orange and blue. And I just wanted to say that, like Karen said, um, you're going to have to find somewhere that chooses you. That was the case for me. I'm a Morgan grad, class of 2015 myself. So just like everyone else, the HBCU world really opened its doors to me, and it really opened up the absorbedness in me. Once I got on the campus of HBCU, I was like a sponge, and I wanted to take absolutely everything in. But when it comes to finding an HBCU or any institution that is for you got to do what we all are accustomed to doing, which is shopping. You have to know what it is that you're looking for. You have to have a plan or some sort of idea, because at the end of the day, we all know that not all of our plans go according to plan. However, when it comes to you have to understand that college isn't just a shirt. It's not just something that you can just pick up really quick and throw on. This is an investment. This is something that's going to change your life, and you have to go with thinking that each and every step. So looking at these schools, looking at the different schools and colleges that the institutions have to offer, looking at the different rates of success that they have to offer, even the amount of failures, because honestly, a lot of the times I tell people that you can build more character from something that is failing, or failing from something, opposed to always achieving and succeeding and accomplishing, because someone's success story may not be your success story. So you have to find somewhere that fits for you, something that calls your name. And right now it does hurt a lot because a lot of our campuses are closed mainly. However, I know that, for instance, Morgan, we're closed, but we are open for people to just guests to walk around the campus. So like they said, stepping onto a campus and getting that feeling of home, you can probably step onto Howard's campus. You can probably go step on Lincoln's campus, but automatic admission doors may not be open at the moment, but just get a look around, get a feel for the community, because HBCUs are big community outreach institutions. And we make sure that we let any of our students know how important it is that we support the community that is supporting us. Okay. And before that, it's all community. So the community that you're in, the community that you're a part of, the community that you were born into, and the community that you move into, there's so much culture, there's so much academia, there's so much knowledge out there to be gained from from all of our institutions, and they're so significant and part of one big major purpose, which is to service the African American communities and all of our Black and brown individuals to pursue higher education as a tool, as a resource. So you have to make sure that you're investing in looking up that historical significance that's going to be more important to you. Look for that, like we said, like Ms. McCann said, you have to look for somewhere. If you're not someone who likes to hustle and bustle of a large city, look for a medium or a small size institution. What are their classroom sizes like? What are their resources available for tutoring and coach class should you need that? What are the internships? So you want to look at all of these things when it comes to looking at an HBCU and any college institution.
Thank you. Thank you. This is such great advice. I think my next question will be again for the admissions reps. Can you share the academic experiences and offerings at your institutions and what might make them unique?
Well, at Lincoln University, our top programs are accounting, biology, mass communications, nursing, psychology, and also human services. One thing that makes our program is pretty unique is because we really involve our mission with anything that we do. So our mission as the first HBCU is to literally empower and educate you guys on how to lead your communities and change the world. So we do it through our three principles: learn, liberate, and lead. And each principle is something different. So through learn, we try to have a rigorous liberal education here. So really a lot of cognitive skills, technical skills, critical thinking skills being developed. Liberating you, pretty much involving you in high impact practices such as national programs, organizations, internships, undergraduate research, career development, things of that nature to really, put you in positions for success and have you exposed to that, that real world, impact pretty much. And then at the same time, lead, our last aspect, really, putting you guys in positions to win, but also fail and understand that failure is possible and that you have to learn from your failures and mistakes. And then this is the space for that pretty much. So that's unique to us. It's because we really use our mission to really help you guys get everything that you guys need. And then there's one thing about our campus. We actually have a female president, Dr. Brenda A. Allen. So how we do things is pretty different. She's actually from Newark, New Jersey. So, she loves her New Jersey kids. She actually has office hours for all of our students. So, ask anybody here, has they really had office hours with their president? And I don't think a lot of people can say yes. I know I didn't. So she really does that and give you guys opportunity to really talk to her on a personal level, whether it's about school, how you feeling about school, or just how you feeling in period. She's there for you guys. So that's our dynamic here at Lincoln.
At Howard University, I think some of the academic experiences that we offer, I have to start with our faculty. We have a dynamic faculty body at the university. We have over 1,300 faculty members, and 98% of our faculty hold terminal degrees in their area of discipline. And they really are subject matter experts at what they do. It's not uncommon for me to turn on the news in the morning and one of our faculty is on the news being interviewed about some recent topic. We do offer several accelerated degree programs. We have 6 accelerated degree programs in medicine, dentistry, law, architecture, speech language pathology, and education. And that we can do that because we have 6 undergraduate schools and colleges and 7 graduate schools. So it makes that very unique. We also have some pretty exciting partnerships with companies like Amazon Studios and Google that enhance our students' academic experience by spending time at those headquarter locations and working directly with industry professionals. And every student's experience at Howard University is predicated by us being in Washington, D.C. There's really not a better place in the world that you can go to school. Washington is so culturally rich and we're surrounded by a little bit of everything. So it's a great place to live and a great place to learn.
With Morgan, we have so many different unique programs. I want to start off with actually our motto. So our motto is growing the future, leading the world. We currently have over 125 different programs, all ranging in so many different things. So we're actually one of the few HBCUs nationally to offer a comprehensive range of different programs, ranging from academic programs to educational enrichment programs. We also have hospitality management programs, architecture programs, business administration programs, all leading towards the doctorate. And these programs are offered on a hybrid level. So that's in-person and online courses. And as well, coming in the fall, we'll be opening back up outdoors to some of our students for in-person courses. And so these courses, they actually have ranged from different national and state rankings. Some of our #1 national ranked programs are programs such as civil engineering, construction management, electrical engineering, public relations, advertising, and these are all in the bachelor's field. From some of our #1 programs that could lead you into your master's or doctorate would be our engineering, our African American studies, our bioenvironmental sciences, and our higher education administration. So a lot of our programs mainly deal with those face-to-face or those one-on-one customer interaction. So we want to make sure that we keep our atmosphere. So our atmosphere on our campus is excellence driven, communal, exciting, familial. So we like to keep a lot of those courses in those fields or in those industries. However, like I said, our motto is growing the future and leading the world. And we're currently watching the trends and the curves of everything that you guys like to work in, or all of the different programs that you're interested in. So we're always adding new and unique programs each and every year. One of my favorite programs that was just added would be the multimedia journalism, because that's something that we are all using each and every day now as we see virtually, especially for some of our young bloggers and vloggers that are coming up nowadays. You're looking at using all different forms of multimedia or media in general to get your platform or get your voice heard on your platform in various areas. So I believe that's one of the most new programs that we have that's going to be very popular. But we have an array of different programs for you to choose from, and an array of different organizations that you can actually be a part of to actually help you in solidifying internships or looking for career options, or even just kind of helping out and giving back to our youth and mentors. Because you'll see now that as a student, you're going to be looking at people who were trying to get to where you are now. And so we want to make sure we instill that each and every year, each and every semester, how important it is for you to mentor someone else and give back.
Well, as a follow-up, Ayla, I know you're going to go and I'm going to jump in. I have a question in the chat, so I'm going to pose this again to the admissions reps. The question is, would you say your school has a sense of strong community? And if so, what does that look like at each of your institutions?
Excuse me, our alumni network is absolutely incredible. And I have to throw my shameless plug in for the Vice President of the United States, who is a Howard University alumna. Vice President Kamala Harris is one of our very own. But aside from that, we have a supportive and engaged alumni community that is always right there with our students from the time they become a Bison and for the rest of their lives. So that, I think, really helps to develop our community.
So with Lincoln, just like Ms. McCants said, and our alumni are pretty dynamic. Just being actually in the New York and New Jersey territory. Those are probably one of our most like lit ones, I can say, pretty much. But no, seriously, like our student life or our community life is something like to see when you're on campus. We are the pride, Lincoln Lions, we are the pride. So we have a lot of pride, really being the pride. And one thing that I can say about just being here, there's help wherever you go, whether that's, if you're a faculty member, staff member, student. Even though I'm a staff member, I feel like I can lean on some of my coworkers because of what we do here on a daily basis. And I know they have my back. And that's, even students know that if they need anything from me, they got it from me. So, because there's that sense of support at every level at Lincoln. And, you just have to be here to understand. Like, I think at any HBCU, you really have to just be there, understand the vibe. And once you're there, it's like a family, pretty much. You may not always love each other and you always want to fight sometime, like family does. But if anybody else outside that family say anything crazy, it's gonna be a war just for our school. So that's what I say is the feel. So.
Exactly. And I believe in the exact same thing. When it comes to community outreach, I keep on speaking about it. Morgan, just like any other HBCU, we are all big community service, community outreach universities. All of us, we all have a network within each other as the HBCU network, as we were said. It would just be just like Nicholas said, we're all a family. We may have different last names within our family. However, we are a strong HBCU family. But What I can say about Morgan in particular is that we do have different community service outreach programs. We have an Office of Community Service that has been developed within, I want to say, with over 25 years of service. The Office of Community Service has actually been in place, offering different community outreach to the city of Baltimore as well as the state of Maryland, statewide. We have different community service incentives that are offered on campus level, that are offered on the local community level as well. Each and every organization, it's kind of like a competition, but it empowers you. Each and every year we have student organization fairs where the student organization has the most community service hours, wins bragging rights along with other prizes. So, I mean, even though people are competing against each other for bragging rights and community service hours, the fact of the matter is we have over 100 different organizations all doing different community services all around our campus, all around our city, and all around our state. Sometimes they even take their community service efforts outside of the state. So, it's just, we're really, really intact with community outreach. And as far as building and engaging with ourselves, we have a huge, huge, huge alumni network. We have different alumni representatives in every state, also internationally. We have different committee meetings all over the world, as well as we're still branching out with our younger members now and making sure they get involved with different alumni associations. We have a Young Black Entrepreneurs and Young Black Alumni Association, so different age groups and age ranks. We have so many different alumni associations, as well as the organizations. I can't forget about those. All of the organizations, whether they are intermajor organizations, student organizations, or organizations that are local and affiliated with your university, all of these organizations most likely have a database and a network where you can have a mentor, or you can actually seek counsel from someone either in an interested field that you have, or even if you're someone who's already graduated, you're an alumni, you can come back and you can mentor a current college student. And so all of these things, the community outreach, the network and opportunities that you have attending an HBCU is absolutely phenomenal.
That's great. Well, we appreciate all this information. So much to think about. I have one more question in the chat, and then I know I won't dominate this, and I'll pivot back to my other co-moderators. The question is, what is it like for non-Black students on your campuses?
There's no real difference. And all I can say is, me personally, I've had friends of different nationalities come to HBCUs, and they're pretty the same. They have fun. They go to fried chicken Wednesdays. They go to Fish Fry Fridays. They go to the DJ in the class. They go to the parties. So I mean, we don't discriminate. That's one thing about HBCUs. Like, they may stop us from going to their schools, but we don't stop them coming from our schools, and they're gonna have the best time than they would at their own schools. So it's no real difference. We treat everybody like they're a human at the end of the day. We all here for the same thing, is to get an education and find ourselves. So they don't get treated differently at our school. Well, for any HBCU period, I can speak on that one. So.
I agree 100% with you. I think HBCUs can be some of the most welcoming environments that you could ever be a part of.
Absolutely agree 100%. One of our core values is diversity. So I can't personally speak on what it's like from someone who's not a person of color's point of view, but I can let you know that I haven't heard any complaints either.
Mhm.
Thank you. So opening this next question up to, I guess, any of the panelists, but can you speak to the extracurricular life at your institution and any ongoing traditions that you guys may have?
Well, we have over 200 clubs and organizations at Howard University, and 5 of the Divine 9 were founded on our campus. So our Greek life is really, really a big part of our campus culture. But with all of those other clubs and organizations going on, I think there's a place for everyone. And if you have an interest and we don't have a club, organization, or outlet for that interest, then you start your own club on campus through our Office of Student Life and Activities. One of my favorite traditions at Howard University is a concert that takes place during our homecoming week called Yard Fest. And if you've ever been, it is a life-changing experience. It's a free outdoor concert that's surrounded by vendors that are selling art and chicken and shrimp and fried fish. And it is an incredible experience. And we've had some really incredible performers be a part of our Yard Fest experience, like Drake and Kanye and Jay-Z and Two Chains and the Baby and Megan. And I mean, the list goes on and on. So it's always an event that everybody, I don't care how old you are, I don't care if you go to Howard or you're just in the DMV area, it is one of the most lit, for lack of a better word, experiences that we have on campus.
I would say the same thing. Our student organizations they keep the campus live. Greek life was absolutely one of my favorite parts of college. I love actually seeing Greeks before I was a part of that life, and then actually when I got a part of it, I learned about the whole other side. You know, it kind of put me in more of a leadership place, and so our student organizations are a big part of our student life. They have so many different clubs. And like Mrs. McCann said, if there's an organization that doesn't necessarily fit with you that we already have in place, you have that opportunity to bring and craft your own organizational club on campus. We'll help you. The students will help you make sure that we furnish you with the resources that you need so that even upon commencement, it will thrive and you will thrive. And people, members are from a part of your organization will also speak highly of it, just like we speak highly of our schools. Another big part tradition will be homecoming. Um, if you've seen Beyonce's Homecoming on Netflix, I think that I can pretty much say that for Lincoln, for Howard, like she didn't leave out any parts. It's lit. The Black experience at an HBCU is absolutely phenomenal, especially because another one of my favorite parts would be the cultural clubs. Because being a Black man before going to an HBCU, you think that you know that everything there is to know about being Black and Black culture, you know? But once you get there, you're faced and you're kind of you're like basically on a carousel of just cultural diversity all around the African diaspora, and it's so beautiful. I'm a member of the Caribbean family, and I never even paid attention to my traditions because before I got to Morgan, you know, so I can tell my family so much more about my lineage and my roots and my heritage just from going to an HBCU, and I wouldn't have even sought out that information, I believe, had I not attended. And so there's so many different student resources and organizations, activities, traditions that all HBCUs hold together firmly that I believe that it's so important. It's so necessary for you to experience on your own. It's so hard to sell you when you're still basically living the experience as an alumni yourself.
Well, I can give you guys two perspectives. So for Lincoln, you know, I just got here, so I'm still learning everything. And you know, it's COVID and stuff. So COVID don't like me. So we're gonna get that straightened up next year. But you know, as far as just being an alumni of a HBCU, I can say like mine per se, it was homecoming, but like homecoming for me was just like every year. But like me personally, I love freshman week. 'Cause I was student ambassador. So like student ambassadors, we got a group of freshmen every year. And what we did was, you know, that was my group of the year, like my little babies for the year. But I'm not gonna lie, this may sound mean, you guys, but my favorite part of the year was literally going to their dorms on that first night, on that first morning, and I had to wake up. It was like 7:30 in the morning. Like, get up, wake up, everybody! It's time to get to the auditorium. I'm not playing. Let's go. And to this day, everybody knows me for that. Like, knocking on their doors in the morning or their freshman week. That's I'm the bad guy, but who cares? It was fun. You know, that's what it's all about, is having fun. And lastly, just, you know, like he said, like Mr. Trayvon said, seeing people around you that want better for themselves. Like, I've never experienced that. And then also, I'm Nigerian, by the way. I know you guys could tell by my last name. I'm Nigerian. So me growing up, I didn't really care about my culture. Like, I didn't really care because where I'm from, people don't really understand African Americans from that really African. So, me going to a HBCU, when I say I'm Nigerian, people be like, "What? I wish I knew where I'm from," and da 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 da, and this, that, and the other, and then be like, stop and pause and be like, "Wow, I'm really mistreating who I am as a person, where I'm from," and then I just started to get interested into it more. I've been to Nigeria like 3 times now. I met my grandfather for the first time a couple years ago. I was just back there. Sorry, not to be pet negative, but I was just back there last Friday for his funeral, stuff like that. Like, it was just like things that I've seen in my culture that I want to do, keep going forward. Like, it just makes the experience way better. So.
Yeah, thank you guys. And I definitely agree with Ms. Mishra. Your enthusiasm is definitely infectious. I have one more question for all of you guys. How have you guys noticed changes and opportunities related to mentorship and networking relative to your past experiences with PWI / what are the benefits to mentorship and networking opportunities at an HBCU?
Can I answer this really quick? Okay, so sorry. There's just so many opportunities and I just love that so much. Um, so at Spelman, we have this pipeline program with the Alliance Theater, and the Alliance Theater is one of the largest theaters in the Northeast. And they have a direct, like, Spelman students. They choose, I think, 3 to 5 every year, and you work as an intern and you have direct contact. You're in board meetings, you're planning the virtual season or the live season, depending on, whether or not we're in a pandemic this year, next year. And I just really love that. And then also, if you do a great job, they offer a 2-year full-time paid position as a fellow with this theater. So, and Pearl Clegg, who is also a Spelman alum, she is the visiting poet, and she just got the Poet Laureate award for the city of Atlanta, and she'll be speaking at Spelman's graduation along with Angela Davis. So, yeah, I just had to, shameless plugs. But yeah, there's so many opportunities to work, especially in Atlanta. I know one student, she's working under Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms. There are students who are interning with Tyler Perry Studios. There are people who, I actually am on a production team filming a documentary about the city of Atlanta that's happening in May. There's just so much to do. And HBCUs, like I said, the career planning office, like, use that. They really want you to, like, succeed. They want to put you in places. I know people who are with Google and doing stuff with Amazon and, like, just everything. We're literally everywhere, all over the world. There are people going to grad school in Kenya and London. They really want you to give back. And one thing I did learn as well, the HBCU miles, if you wear your Howard sweatshirt at the airport, you wear your Morgan State hat, you got
Gotta
your
say it.
Lincoln on, you will get stopped. Here's my phone number. I'm an alum. Take my card, contact me. Homecoming, people are walking, at homecoming, let me tell you, so people will walk into their old freshman dorm, which is your current dorm, slip you a little care package under your door, leave, like, stuff on you, like, leave a little bag full of goodies. They'll see you live there. Like, I lived in a dorm called Manly, and those are the little hands, like the little hand things. Like, we'll do stroll, like, we freshman dorm stroll, just like Greek life. And I'm telling you, like, the people really want to give back. People really want to see the next generation of these students who go to HBCU succeed. And that's why they choose to be so active. I've never seen people care so much about institutions and things like that until I got to an HBCU. It's like, when places like the high schools that I went to, they're private, the middle schools I went to, they're private. They have their donors, and then, they have, like, the people who come back, but, like, it's a different energy. Just imagine a family reunion, and that's every day. That's every day for everything, in class, at college, not college counseling, in career counseling, career planning, every aspect, just seeing alum in public. And that's networking. And they really emphasize the idea of networking across and not up, because that's where you make the most valuable connections. And it's Spelman, we don't even really call it networking, we call it connecting, because you want to keep these relationships and build on top of them for the future, rather than just saying, like, oh, this is, like, I'm on a phone call with Shaka King right now. Shaka King is up for an Oscar for Judas and the Black Messiah. And like some people, oh, let's network with him because we'll know him. But no, let's get to know his PA. Let's get to know the person who like helps him. Let's get to know the person who brought him to where he is. Because when you're in a room with a bunch of quote unquote little people, those little people become big people. And then you become that big person. And you become a Shaka King who was a writer and didn't really know anything about what happened. And he got thrown into Judas and the Black Messiah on a whim because of the connections, not because of the network. Because you can have all these contacts and then nobody answers, and then what happens? Because you don't have a connection with them. So build that connection, and that starts with people talking skills. I'm glad. I'd rather be a long-winded person than a very short person. Because if you know one thing about me, you will know me by the time we finish speaking. You will know me, and you will not be able to forget me. Promise. But yes, HBCUs are very good for that. Very good for networking, connecting, and building that strong foundation for you postgraduate.
Yep. I'm gonna hop in next. Karen is literally stealing my thunder, saying everything I want to say. So I'll try to be brief. In terms of myself personally, networking, professional development, I've definitely, like I said earlier, Howard was definitely the right choice, and I'll explain why now. So I got to Howard as a freshman. And obviously I did do computer engineering in the first part, but then towards like the end of like my maybe first month at Howard, I was like, okay, maybe computer science is the major for me. So I go into computer science, and Miss McCants, she kind of touched on it, but Howard has a few HBCUs too. We have a special program called Google in Residence, where yes, we do send people to Google's headquarters as juniors, but as freshmen, your intro course in CS is taught by someone who works at Google. And they take a semester off to teach you basically the fundamentals of how computer science works, but then they also give you the professional development. So if you do want to, go job hunting during the summer and maybe get a freshman internship, you can do that. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the people from Howard selected for a Google internship my freshman year. And it's something like that where you're someone who's at an HBCU, but like it's so hard to explain or even put into words, but like companies and like especially Fortune 500 companies, like they know HBCUs are no joke. Like it is very, very, very it's a very, very rigorous curriculum that you have to go through, but then you also get so much of the professional development. Like I can give you an example. My friends in the business school, they all have like corporate sponsors, and I'll be a little jealous, but I'll hear them like having stories where like they'll meet with like their corporate sponsor at a dinner, and like they'll fly them out to like wherever the city is, and then the corporate sponsor will be like, hey, like, do you need an internship? It's just because they already know the rigor of like how hard it is in HBCU, that they're just like, all right, like we want you to keep going. I'll give you another example. I'm not coming back to Google this summer, but I'm working at Apple. I'm going to be an Apple HBCU scholar. And so that's another thing where it's just like professional development. It just keeps going. And I'll give you one more example. The Goldman Sachs Market Madness program. It's a program specifically for HBCUs, and the top team that wins the prize, it's teams from different schools and HBCUs. They do get a donation. But obviously the other side to that is that Goldman Sachs is looking for people to intern with them. And I was fortunate enough to have a Howard grad on my team who works at Goldman. And it's literally something as simple as that, where I tell him I'm from Howard. He says, no way. We talked about our freshman dorm. I'm from Drew. He's from Drew too. And so when you have that connection, then you have the HBCU connection, you have the school connection. It's so many things that will lead to that, and I have tons of stories just like that, where it's someone from Howard. It makes your professional development, and it makes your life just so much easier. So there's definitely a lot of networking, professional development going on at Howard. I would talk about my friends, but I would just talk about them forever, and like different people I'm meeting and the fields that they're going into. It's ridiculous.
I think Miles and Karen said it best. There's so many opportunities. I would just say, like I said, I graduated 2015, 2010. Before I got into an HBCU, we didn't have this big powerhouse of social media. You know, we had Facebook, Instagram was still just being conceived. So, you know, just think about all of that. Now we hear it. I didn't grow up hearing HBCU this, HBCU that. You hear it coming out of the mouths of celebrities, politicians, you know, ambassadors all over the world. And so you have that leverage at your advantage and at your disposal. So, you know, get into these classrooms, start talking to people, get to know people. Like Karen said, I was a theater major, so I was definitely somebody who you were going to hear and someone who you were going to see often. So make yourself known, and make yourself known with a purpose of substance. Don't just be someone who wants to be seen. You know, look for the internship opportunities, look at the different scholarship opportunities, look at the networking opportunities, look at celebrities or famous people who may have went to institutions that you're looking at going into, and see what their plight was like. You know, we have so many people out here who have come from HBCUs and you don't even know it, or people who are actually, you know, establishing themselves still and even still taking classes for HBCUs online. And so there's so many different opportunities out here as far as networking, branding yourself, building yourself, finding your potential, looking at other people to actually inspire you and motivate you and uplift you into what it is that you want to do, opportunities to help you grow as a person, someone to help you grow academically. You know, there's so many opportunities out here. You have to be someone, you have to be the definition of a true hustler. You have to know where the opportunities are. And if you know there's somewhere something around, look for them and hunt for them, find them, talk to people. Go to, if you're interested in business, start going to different banks and look at the internships, the fellowships, the shadowing opportunities that they have for students. Start seeing what it is that you could do to get that career, what it takes to be that person in that career, and start molding yourself to be that person. You have to be out here looking for opportunities if you really want to make sure that you're receiving them.
Well, I think we're almost at the hour. I know we were supposed to, this has been just such a great, wonderfully interactive conversation. The way I couldn't have asked for any better. So thanks so much for all of our panelists, our alums, our admissions counselors. Your input, your words have been just really felt, I think, by the office. I don't know if anybody has any last questions they want to ask the group. I am respectful of the time. I know it's 7:59, but we did want to give a small window of time for folks to ask questions. And if you do have them, please unmute yourself and ask the panel. And in the meantime, it looks like our admissions officers have also put some of their information in the chat. So if you're looking for that, please write that down, make note of that. Oh, it looks like we have a question. Someone's raised their hand. Please go ahead and unmute. You can, yep, there you go.
Hi, thank you so much. This was an excellent panel, and wishing I had gone to a HBCU myself. But as a parent, I guess the one question I have for the admissions officers are in terms of scholarships and how do we pay for college? Are there more opportunities for students at the HBCUs in terms of paying for college?
So I can go ahead and answer for Lincoln specifically. So here at Lincoln, we have 3 types of scholarships. Well, we have a few types of scholarships you guys can apply for. So we have merit-based, so typical academic requirements. Then we have need-based, so if you are a low-income first-generation student. Then we have performance-based, so you play a sport, an instrument for the marching band, or know how to sing, an opportunity as well. So typically for freshmen, our provosts are typically from, presidential to dean. So you need to have a 3.3 GPA and also have a 1020 on the SAT, or I believe a 25 on the ACT. And you can get a minimum of $10,000 to $18,000 depending on your GPA and your test score. And then we do have endowment funds, so that's through our alumni. So one of our alumni is Thurgood Marshall. So we have the Thurgood Marshall Fund here at Lincoln University. We have the United Negro Fund here as well. So we have a lot of host of different things that you guys can apply for. I do know for certain states, if you apply to your FAFSA and you put Lincoln, because we're number 1 first, you feel me, on your FAFSA, little shots there, you feel me? But, you get like a little special surprise as well onto your FAFSA. And we do a good job of really helping you out because 60% of our students do receive scholarships, and then 90% of our students do receive financial aid. So I'm telling you guys, apply for scholarships, apply for financial aid. I'm not saying it for my health. And then last thing by Lincoln, we're pretty affordable too. We roughly cost $29,000 academic school year, so that includes tuition, room and board, and any extra fees you may think of. And the price don't go up; it only goes down. So let's say you have your own insurance, boom, $1,000 off your account. And then also, that's all. And then tuition freeze. Tuition freeze means you pay the same rate in tuition every school year until you're a senior. So you know what you're going to pay in tuition. So that's what I gotta say.
Our scholarship offerings are pretty similar. We offer need-based and merit-based awards to entering freshmen. Our merit-based awards are renewable every 4 years. And then after your freshman year, a plethora of opportunities open up through our founders and trustee and donor scholarships. So it really is on the student to seek out those funds and to ensure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and have a vested interest in financing their educational experience.
Just like Ms. McCann said, it is really crucial for the student to make sure that you're putting up, like I said, you have to be a hustler. You have to make sure that you're the one dedicating at least 10 to 15 hours a week for scholarship opportunities alone. Additionally, Morgan does offer merit scholarships. We offer institutional aid, and we have a host of different external and internal scholarships that all students could apply to. I would let all students know that your financial aid, what you will be getting from FAFSA, will be a subtraction of your estimated your family contribution that you submit with your taxes, minus the school's cost of attendance, which creates that budget for you. So based off of that sum is what FAFSA actually would determine what you're eligible for. So keep that in mind when you're also applying to scholarships, and you can kind of basically do your own calculations to see, okay, I may be eligible for about 15% of what my cost of attendance will be. So I need to make sure that I'm applying that 85% for scholarships, grants, opportunities. And so you want to make sure that you're applying nonstop. As much energy as we put into social media, spending money on things that we don't need, you want to put that energy into making sure that you're investing into your college career.
Thank you.
Well, I know it's about 8:04. Thank you so much, panelists. We really appreciate it. Hun alums, we're so proud of you. I know I'm not alone in saying that. We really are. We know you're going to change the world. And to our admissions reps, such thanks and gratitude to you. We know it's a busy time always, but certainly this time of the year as you're trying to get your incoming class of folks solidified. But we just so appreciate hearing the words from you directly and then knowing about your own experiences interwoven and with your comments, they're just really valuable for us. And folks, I would just direct you to the chat. I think there've been some wonderful resources. Our admissions officers have listed some of their own contact information. Mr. Murray, my colleague, also listed the United Negro College Fund link as well. But certainly if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with our counseling office. We of course support HBCUs to the fullest. We've been seeing an increase in interest of our students at HUN. We always bring it up as an option for our students, and we continue to see them make the decision to attend HBCUs as you see tonight. So just know that this office continues to do what we can to highlight the magnificence of them and the resources they offer. All right, so we'll see you at another time. But again, thanks again and good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, guys.